your heart and one hand on your forehead. So svadhyaya, or self-study, involves a little introspection. So as you lie here with one hand on your heart and one hand on your forehead or your thinking mind, I'm going to read 2 sentences about svadhyaya, but they are packed sentences. Svadhyaya, or self-awareness, requires a willingness to look deeply into ourselves so that we don't stay stuck in what we habitually believe ourselves to be. This kind of deep investigation of the patterning of the mind leads to a connection with who we are as pure consciousness. So as I said, only 2 sentences, but certainly a packed 2 sentences. As you lie here for a few more breaths, maybe settling into your body, maybe releasing some tension from your low back, allow yourself to just reflect, to do a little self-study. Where do you feel like you might be stuck? Are you stuck in an emotion? Are you stuck in a thought? Are you stuck in a relationship? What habitual patterns of thinking do you always resort to? And if nothing comes to mind, that's fine. That means that you just need to do perhaps a little more self-study. And this doesn't necessarily have to be negative, right? Perhaps your habitual way of thinking is, oh my gosh, I am really comfortable with where I'm at in my life, or I am open and accepting of all people. I don't approach situations from fear. I don't harbor anger. I don't meet relationships with resistance, right? Everything could be positive. So just notice where you're at. Maybe you're stuck in a little positivity. Maybe you're overly positive. Maybe you approach a lot of things from a sense of judgment or self-righteousness because you think you're right about everything. So just notice, is that a pattern you're stuck in? Again, there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. We're just trying to notice. We're trying to do a little bit more self-study because that is at the basis of yoga. Yoga was designed as a practice to open our bodies enough to allow our bodies to sit in meditation for hours and hours and hours, if not days and days and days. So I'm just going to ask you to take a few more breaths. And then open your knees and bring your right knee into your chest, bring your left knee into your chest, hold on to your kneecaps, and then start to make some nice big circles. So we're working on releasing tension in your low back, right? Just having your knees bent, falling into each other helps to release tension. This is also really good. You can reverse the circle now. Not only is this good for your lumbar spine, this is also good for your hip joints. And then come to a still point. Lift your legs up a little bit. I don't want your feet hanging down. I want your legs active and engaged. So your legs perhaps are making a right angle. And you're going to leave them in this right angle position as you slide your hands down to your thighs and start pressing into your thighs with your hands. and your thighs are going to resist and push back. And if you are using enough effort, you might feel this in your low belly. If you don't feel it in your low belly, you might need a little bit more effort. You might have to push into that meaty part of your thighs a little bit more. Your thighs might have to resist just a tad bit more. And then release your hands. Open your arms out to the side like airplane wings. Glue those thighs together and let your knees fall halfway down to the right and allow your head to turn to the left. So now you're in your first spinal twist. Keeping your thighs glued together, inhale them back to center. And as you exhale, let those thighs come halfway down to the left. Let your head turn to the right. Inhale back to center. This time as you exhale, your knees are going to come all the way down to the right. Pause for a moment and get a sense of where you feel yourself maybe creating a little bit of space. Where do you feel a stretch? Is it in your left glute? Maybe it's in your left ribs. Maybe it's in the left side of your neck. Maybe it's in your shoulder. Maybe you don't notice anything, that's fine. And you're going to stretch your left leg straight out in front of you. So your legs are still on top of each other. You're going to point your left toes to your face. And then you're going to slowly start to lift that left leg up. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Lift that left leg up. So your leg is pointing straight out. And then you're going to slowly, slowly, slowly lower that leg back down. So your knees are on top of each other, right? That right leg is still on the floor and it's bent. Your left leg is straight out. So your toes are pointing to your chest, to your face. And then leaving your leg in this direction. Start to slowly lift your leg up again. Slowly, 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 slowly. And then again, slowly lower it down. Bend your knee, your feet and knees and thighs are back glued together. Inhale them back to center. And as you exhale, both of your knees fall down to the left. Your head turns to the right. Settle in for a moment, allowing your glutes to stretch. Maybe your ribs are creating a little space between them. And then you're going to stretch your right leg straight out. Point your toes to your face. Slowly lift that right leg up, up, up. Hold it. And then slowly, slowly, slowly lower it down. So this is glute work. And again, as you inhale, lift it up, up, up. Hold it. And as you exhale, lower, lower, lower. Bend your knees, glue your thighs back together. Inhale them to center. And as you exhale, bring both of your legs up into the air. Point your toes to your face. So it's the middle of the afternoon. I'm assuming that none of you just rolled out of bed. So you perhaps can keep your legs straight. Maybe you can even bring them in a little bit closer to your body, getting a big sense of length behind your legs. And then point your toes to the ceiling. And then point your toes back to your face. Toes to the ceiling. Toes back to your face. Keeping your thighs glued together, let them come halfway down to the right. Hold it for 2 breaths. Big inhale. Exhale 1. Another big breath in. Use your exhale to lift those legs back up. And then they come halfway down to the left. 2 breaths. Big inhale. Exhale 1. Another big breath in. Use your exhale to bring them back up. Bend your knees, wrap your arms around your legs, and rock yourself gently from side to side. Rocking, right? I talk about rocking all the time. It's very soothing. It's very comforting. So maybe if your svadhyaya or self-study brings you to a place where you feel like you're being harsh to yourself, you're not treating yourself like a best friend, maybe you just need to curl up in a ball and rock for a little while and comfort yourself. Come to a still point. Place your feet on the floor. Bring your arms to your side. You're going to leave your palms facing down because you might need a little bit of assistance. Begin to lift your hips. Lift your lower back, your middle back, and your upper back. You are in your Setu Bandhasana bridge pose. Staying here, take another breath in, and as you exhale, lift your hips even higher. I want your hips lifted high enough that you start to feel a stretch in the top of your thighs up to the point where your thighs are inserting into your torso. So maybe you lift up even higher so you start to feel a stretch in those hip flexors. And we're going to try to stay here. And then you're going to lift up that right knee, straighten that right leg. Bend that right knee, place your foot down. Same leg, lift up your right knee, straighten your right leg, bend your right knee, foot to the floor. One more time, lift your leg, straighten, bend your knee, release. Shift your weight into that right leg, lift your left leg up. You might have to scoot your hips up a little higher, and then bend that left knee, foot to the floor. Lift your left knee, heel to the ceiling. Bend your knee, foot to the floor. Lift your knee, straighten your leg, heel to the ceiling. Bend your knee, foot to the floor. Lift your knee, heel to the ceiling. Bend your knee, foot to the floor. Lift your hips, stay here for 3 breaths. Big breath in. Exhale 1. Another big inhale. Exhale 2. One more big breath in. And as you exhale, slowly lower, tuck your chin, lower your upper back, then your middle back, then your lower back. Finally, your hips come down. Sweep both of your arms up over your head. Spread your fingers really wide. Create some space between your fingers. Create some length under your arms. We're going to come to sit, trying to use more muscle than momentum. So big breath in. As you exhale, lift your arms, lift your head, lift your chest, and up you come. Good job. Hold on behind your thighs, lean back a little bit, lift one leg, lift the other. So we're always trying to keep this 45-degree angle, right? Our legs are going to start getting tired. They're going to want to drop down. We're going to try to stay here. Chest lifted. Release one arm, release the other. 3 breaths. Big breath in. Exhale 1. Another big inhale. Exhale 2. Another big breath in. Exhale 3. Hold on to the back of your thighs. Lift yourself back up. Stay here for a moment. And now you're going to release one arm, release the other, or hold on, whatever feels safer. And we're going to slowly, slowly, slowly tap your toes. Slowly, slowly, slowly lift them up. Ardha Navasana, half boat pose with movement. Slowly, slowly, slowly tap your toes. Slowly, slowly, slowly lift them up. One more time. Slowly, slowly, slowly tap. Slowly, slowly, slowly lift. Hold on to your thighs. Bring yourself together. Cross your ankles. Roll yourself up and over onto your hands and knees. Once you're on your hands and knees, spread your fingers nice and wide. Start to drop your belly button. Lift your tailbone, look up. Big breath in. Exhale, tuck your tailbone, tuck your chin, round that spine. Again, drop your belly button, tailbone raises, look up. As you exhale, tuck and round. Stay here, trying to get as big a curve in your spine as you can. Why? So if you tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, as you're rounding your spine, you're creating space in your spine. And then come back to a neutral spine. Curl your toes, leading with your tailbone. Start to lift your hips. Lift, 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 lift. Once your hips are as high as they can come, you can start letting your heels get heavy, stretching your calves, your ankles. And look back toward your feet. You want to see all of your toes, but you don't want to see so much of your heels. So kind of scoot your heels out a little bit. You might notice a deeper stretch in your calves when you do that. And then you're going to look at the creases in your elbows, and you're going to ever so slightly turn the creases of your elbows toward each other. That's shifting your shoulder blades onto your back. And then measuring the distance of our down dog, you're going to come up onto your tippy toes and rock yourself forward to plank. And you're going to try to stay here for 3 breaths. Big inhale. Exhale, 1. Another big breath in. Exhale, 2. One more big inhale. As you exhale, lift your hips, come to down dog. And then bring your knees to the mat. Sink your hips to your heels. Bring your arms behind you. Let your shoulders melt into the floor. Let your forehead rest on your mat. Stay here for a few breaths. And with that sense of self-reflection or self-study, just notice where your mind goes when your body is still. Take a moment in your mind to remind yourself that you're strong and steady, because here we go. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Lift yourself to all fours. Curl your toes. Lift yourself to down dog. Lift your right leg up into the air. Turn that right big toe ever so slightly down toward the floor, or maybe even toward that left heel, so you get a slight internal rotation of that right hip joint. And now you're going to try to come up onto the tippy toes of that left foot, and you're going to rock yourself forward to a one-legged plank. Big breath in. Exhale, lift yourself up to a one-legged down dog. Big inhale. Exhale, plank. Big breath in. Exhale, down dog. We're going to do that again, or maybe you add a little chaturanga in there. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, plank. Maybe you bend your elbows, chaturanga. Straighten your arms. Lift your hips, down dog. Release your foot to the mat. Knees to the floor. Hips to your heels. Take a couple of resting breaths. Spread your fingers. You're back on your hands and knees just for a moment. Take that big sip of breath. Curl your toes. Use that exhale to lift you up. And then your left leg comes up into the air. Those left toes point down toward the floor, ever so slightly toward that right heel. And then inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, one-legged plank. Lift yourself back to your one-legged down dog. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, one-legged plank. Lift yourself back to your one-legged down dog. And then maybe add a little chaturanga push-up. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, plank. Bend your elbows. Straighten your arms. Hips rise. Foot releases. Knees to the mat. Hips to your heels. Arms behind you. Relax. Slide your hands back out in front of you. Lift yourself to all fours. Here we go. Curl your toes. Leading with that tailbone, your hips rise first. Then your heels get heavy. Now you lift that right leg up just for a moment. You look to your hands. You step your right foot forward. Pause for a moment. Get yourself nice and steady in your lunge, because we're now going to lift our arms coming to a high lunge. So in your high lunge, make sure that your back left heel is pressing back. You're on the toes of that left foot. Your right thigh is fired up. Arms come up into the air just for a moment. Then you're going to take one hand and place it on your heart, and you're going to take the other hand and place it on your forehead. And now you're going to take that nice breath in, and as you exhale, bend your left knee and lift. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Bend and lift. Stay in your high lunge. Bring those arms out in front of you again. And then start to lean forward. Lean forward so much that you're stretching that right glute. Hands to the mat. Shift your weight forward, and your left leg comes out behind you. Lots of choices about where to go from here. The first choice is leave my fingers on the floor, stay here. The other one is bring my arms out to the side like airplane wings to help steady me. Your third choice is one hand to your heart, one hand to your forehead. 3 breaths. Step your feet together, sweep your arms up over your head, hold on to that left wrist, come down to the right. So in your side bend, notice yourself creating space in that left rib cage. More space in your body, more space in your mind, more room for self-reflection. Inhale, lift up, hold on to that right wrist, come down to the left. Lift yourself up, open your arms nice and wide, fold forward. Stay in your forward bend and explore where you feel the most space being created. Is it behind your knees? Is it in your glutes? Maybe in your neck? Maybe in your shoulders? So we're training ourselves on the mat, right, to be curious. Right now we're being introspective about our physical body. But we can take that same sense of curiosity and turn it to our self-study as well. Bend your knees, bring your hands to the floor. Walk or jump yourself to plank pose. Once you're in your plank pose, bring your right forearm down, your left forearm down. Tap your right knee and lift. Tap your left knee and lift. Straighten your right arm, straighten your left arm, 2 breaths. Right forearm down, left forearm down. Tap your right knee and lift. Left knee and lift. Straighten your right arm, straighten your left arm, 2 breaths. One more time. Right forearm, left forearm. Tap that right knee and lift. Tap your left knee and lift. Straighten your right arm, straighten your left arm. Hips rise, heels heavy, head relaxed, down dog. And now that left leg comes up into the air. You look to your hands. You step your left foot forward. You stay on the toes of that right foot, and those arms come up into the air. Maybe you tuck your tailbone under a little bit. You're stretching through that right hip flexor. Your shoulders become easeful. One hand to your heart, one hand to your forehead. Big breath in. Exhale, tap and lift. Tap and lift. Tap and lift. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, stay here. Sweep those arms back up, relax your shoulders. Start to lean forward as if I'm in front of you, holding your hands and gently pulling them. And then your hands come to the floor and you shift yourself forward. That right leg comes up behind you. And you make the decision, are my fingers happy on the floor? Let them stay there. Do they want to come out to the side? Or can I bring one to my heart and one to my forehead for 3 breaths? Step your feet together, sweep your arms up, bring them back to your heart center, step your feet apart about 3 or 4 feet, turn your toes out, heels in. Big breath in. As you exhale, sit down in your squat. So we're going to stay here. You're definitely going to feel your quads working. You want to make sure you're not leaning forward too much, right? Try to lift yourself up. Is the back of your head lined up with your tailbone? And now, nice breath in, lift up your right heel. And as you exhale, release it down. Inhale, lift your left heel. Exhale, release it down. Bring your arms straight out in front of you. Lift your left arm up in the air. Release it straight out in front of you. Lift your right arm up into the air. Release it straight out in front of you. Nice breath in, lift your right heel and your left arm and hold it for 2 more breaths. Release your arm, release your heel. Inhale, right arm, left heel, 2 breaths. Release your heel, release your arm. Bring your arms out to the side. Sink down a little bit lower. Lift both heels and release. Lift both heels, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Lift your left arm up. Lift your right heel up. And release. Lift your right arm up. Lift your left heel up. And release. Lift both heels. Stay here, 3 breaths. Release your heels, zip up your legs. Bring your arms to the center. Let your head, let your arms all drop down. Stay in this wide-legged forward bend. Walk both of your hands over toward your right foot. See if you can perhaps hold on to your right ankle or your right foot or your right shin. So you're in a wide-legged forward bend with a little bit of a twist. And then you're going to walk your hands all the way over to your left foot, and maybe you hold on to your foot or your ankle or somewhere. And then walk back to center. Lift yourself up a couple of inches just so your arms are dangling, your head is dangling. And then imagine you have that spoon in each hand and you start stirring that phenomenally huge pot of soup. And then you reverse it, you go around the other way. And then you come to a still point. Those arms get really heavy as they slow down. You let your hands come to the outside of your legs. You take a big breath in, pull in your belly, and as you exhale, slide your hands up your legs. Bend your knees, jump your feet together. And then just do whatever you have to do to sit down. All right, I'm not going to give you a bunch of fancy instructions to get yourself there. Just sit. So once you come to sit, cross your legs, hold on to your knees, lift yourself up a little bit taller through those side ribs, shoulders to your ears, big sip of breath, and exhale, release. So part of our self-study or svadhyaya is noticing patterns in our mind. We also notice patterns in our body. So I want everybody to switch the cross of their legs. You're breaking that natural pattern of habit. Place your hands next to you. Lift yourself up a little bit taller. And then see if you can keep this length in your body. Sweep your arms over your head, palms forward, bring your elbows down. Bring your elbows together, forearms together, hands together. And then open them up. Good. Elbows, forearms, hands. Open them up. I can't see everybody, but I'm just going to let you know that there are a lot of people who can't get their elbows together. So if that's you, don't worry, you're not alone. Elbows, forearms, hands. Open them up. Sweep your hands behind you. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Big sip of breath. And as you exhale, leading with your heart, come forward, forward, forward. Lift your arms a little bit. Using your belly, lift yourself back up. And then one more time, come forward, forward, forward. Lift your arms as you drop your head and heart. Lift yourself back up. Release your arms out to the side. Straighten one leg, straighten the other. Toes to your face. Take your right hand, right? Bring it to the outside of your left foot or maybe your left shin. And then you begin to turn your belly, your ribs, your chest. You're going to look over that left shoulder. It's another spinal twist with a little bit of a forward bend. So there's kind of a lot happening. Come back to center, lift your arms up. And as you exhale, fold forward, but not all the way. Your arms are straight out in front of you. Your chin is tucked. Why? Because I want length in your neck. Your fingers are stretching forward. And then inhale, lift your right arm up, elbow near your ear. Exhale, release it down. Inhale, left arm lifts, elbow near your ear. Exhale, release. Notice if there's more mobility in one arm than the other. Inhale, right arm lifts. Exhale, release. Inhale, left arm lifts. Exhale, release. Inhale, both arms lift. Exhale, release. Another big breath in. Exhale, sit up, arms over your head. And then drop them out to the side like airplane wings. Wiggle the fingers of that left hand. Start to turn your belly, your ribs, your chest, and your left hand comes somewhere near that right foot. You turn your belly, your ribs, your chest. You look over your right shoulder. Inhale, both arms come up over your head. And this time as you exhale, you come forward, 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 and you hold on to something. Maybe it's your feet. Maybe it's your calves. You're trying to keep that length in your neck, right? So you're not looking up to your ceiling. You're looking either at your toes or at your feet. And then think about those One-legged down dog, chaturanga is all the strength you built in your body, your upper body. Take a big breath in, lift your chest. As you exhale, bend your elbows. Use a little of that upper body strength to draw your chest closer to your feet. Creating space in the whole back of your body. Slide your hands up your legs. Bring your hands next to you. I'll turn sideways. You're going to bend your knees. You're going to lift yourself up into a reverse table. I don't want you to, I shouldn't even say it because once you say something, that's all you're going to think about. I don't want you to think about your butt touching the floor. I want you to just think about your elbows. So I want you to bend your elbows, bend your elbows, bend your elbows, bend your elbows, and then straighten, 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 straighten. And then bend your elbows, bend your elbows, bend your elbows, bend your elbows, and straighten, straighten, straighten. One more time, bend, 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 hold it. Straighten, straighten, straighten. Lift your right knee up, straighten your right leg. Bend your right knee, foot to the floor, just like we did in the beginning. Lift your left knee, straighten your leg, bend your knee, foot to the floor. One more time, lift your right leg, straighten, bend your knee, release. Lift that left knee, straighten, bend your knee, release. Slowly lower yourself down. Good. Lift yourself up. You're going to take your arms and cross them over your back and try to walk your hands down your back a little bit, really stretching your triceps. Try to keep those elbows lifted as those fingers creep down. And then lift your arms up. Let them come down to your side. Shake your arms out a little bit. Shake your hands out. And then bring your arms up over your head, starting with your right hand. I think we did this last week. You're going to sweep your right hand down. Turn your palm up. Bring it out to the side. Open that shoulder. Get that stretch. And then lift your arm back up. And then your left hand sweeps down. Turn your palm up. Bring it out to the side. Stretch. Bring it back up. Both arms come down. Notice which arm's on top. Turn your palms up, stretch, stretch, stretch. Arms come back over your head. Switching the cross. Sweep your arms down. Turn your palms up, stretch, stretch, stretch. Lift them up. Big axial extension. I want to lengthen that spine. One more time, switching the cross. Dive those hands down. Sweep them out. Bring them back up. And fold forward, relax your head, your hands, your heart. Slide your hands back. Bend your knees. Arms come straight out. I will not count my annoying Mississippis. I'm going to trust you to come down slowly. So slowly, slowly, slowly. Right, look behind you. Make sure you're going to land on something that's not going to hurt you. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Once you're all the way down, bring those knees back into your chest. And maybe you wrap your arms around your legs, give yourself that nice big squeeze. Release your feet. Stretch your right leg straight out in front of you. Stretch your left leg straight out in front of you. Bring your arms slightly out to the side, but leave your palms facing down. Oftentimes I'll say turn your palms upward so you can seek some wisdom from above. When your palms are turned downward, you're seeking some wisdom from within. And yogis all believe that we have everything we need to be our highest self, to live in a place of pure consciousness. We just have to remind ourselves to access it, tap into it. We have to remind ourselves to not allow some patterns of thought, some places that we get stuck, to get in the way of accessing all of that higher self, all of those higher self qualities that we have within us. Svadhyaya, or self-awareness, requires a willingness to look deeply into ourselves so that we don't stay stuck in what we habitually believe about ourselves. This kind of deep investigation of the patterning of the mind leads to a connection with who we are as pure consciousness. Slowly begin to travel through whatever motions you need to travel through to come back to a seated position. Trying to keep your eyes closed. Once again, let one hand rest on your forehead and let one hand rest on your heart. Take a moment to express gratitude at your ability to explore the possibility of allowing your yoga practice to be a time of self-study or self-reflection, or to perhaps use your yoga practice as a launching point to do a little bit deeper dive into some more self-study and self-reflection. Bring your hands together at your heart center. If you would like to seal your practice this afternoon with the sound of Om, we can chant one Om together. So if you would like to join me, take a big breath in. Namaste.